Hello everyone, my name is Tuin. Today I have come up with a new video on LangGraph for building multi-node agent. So in the previous video, we talked about basic concepts on LangGraph and how to build edges, nodes and maintain states. So today we'll create a graph having multiple nodes. Let's see the agenda. So here we learn how to create multi-node agent, connecting nodes through edges, LangGraph start and end node, maintaining state across nodes, and creating visual graph. And finally, we will be building a graph similar to this available here. So let's see it in action. So I have already created a project and I'll be using Python for creating the project. And inside the source directory, I'll create a few Python files. So let's first create a file called schema. And inside the schema, we'll create one class called agent state. So agent state structure will be responsible for storing the state of the agent across multiple nodes, and it has four properties called name, standard, subjects and final. So name, standard and subjects will be populated in each node. So first node will be populating node, and second node will be populating standard, third node will be populating subjects, and finally will be displaying the data or storing the final result in the final node, final string. Okay. So let's create another Python file called nodes. So as I mentioned, I created three nodes called process name nodes, where we will be taking the name and storing it in the state inside the final. And then second node is the process standard node, where we'll be taking the standard of the student and will be storing it inside the final variable. And process subject node, where we'll be taking the list of subjects and we'll be finally storing it inside the final variable inside the state. And you can see the state, we are storing the populating the final variable over the nodes, and that's how we will be maintaining the states across the nodes. So now we will create the graph. Let's create another file called graph, and inside the graph okay, I did not install LangGraph, so let's install LangGraph now. So in order to install LangGraph, we need to use poetry add LangGraph. LangGraph package. So until this is being installed, let's discuss about the how we have defined the nodes. So first node, process name node, we have added a node inside the graph. First we defined the graph using graph, state graph and agent state. Agent state schema, we have defined it inside the schema.py. And now we have added graph.add node, and inside that we have added the process name node and given it a name as name node. And similarly we have added process standard node and process subjects node. And then we connected each of the nodes with the edges. So first node, the name node, we have added with the start node, and then name node we added with the standard node, and finally the standard node we added with the subjects node, and subjects node will be connected to the end node. And finally we compiled the agent. Now we'll create another file called main, from where we'll run that particular agent. Now we'll create one more folder called output, and let's now run the main. So let me explain first before running. So here inside the agent.invoke, as you know, in the schema.py we have four properties, right? Name, standard, subjects, and after all the iteration is complete, it will be finally stored in the final. So now let's come back to the main. We are taking name as Tuhin and standard as sec2 and subjects math, EVS and English. Okay, and it will be stored inside the final property inside the state, and and then we are printing the state final. Okay, and finally this code will be responsible for creating the graph that we generated inside the graph.py, that this structure. Okay, okay, I will run it from here. You can see, hello Tuhin, you study in standard 2, your subjects are math, EVS and English. Fine. And finally we have saved graph to the output graph, and let's see how does it look. So finally the graph has been created with the start node and end node, and in the middle the name node, standard node and subjects node. Okay, so this is how we create the multi-node graph using LangGraph. In the next episodes we will learn about building graph with the feedback loops, building graph with the conditional edges, and finally we'll create a React based AI agent using LangGraph. If you liked my video, then please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.